Hello, I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man, and I'm with Lucy Marlow. Lucy is a Senior Associate Solicitor in JMW's Intellectual Property Department. Hello, Lucy.
Hey, Dominic.
Hello, Lucy. Thank you very much for joining me today. So there appears to be a dispute between the well-known drinks manufacturer Red Bull and a little-known gin distillery called Bullards. What's happened, Lucy?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dominic. So this is a trademark opposition involving a big company taking on a smaller company. So Bullards, they have been using the mark Bullards, Bullards, since around 1837 in respect of beer, wine and spirits. And recently they've applied to the UK IPO for the mark, just the word mark for the word name Bullards, back, as I said, in August 2020. And Red Bull have stepped in and opposed this application, relying upon their trademarks. So now this opposition is going to have to make its way through the UK IPO. Red Bull's quite actually an interesting one, as they're very well known for protecting their brands. So they have no less than 33 marks in the UK for Red Bull. They have internationally 800 marks. And I've used our software to have a look at Red Bull's portfolio and just generally how litigious they are. Red Bull have opposed around 239 oppositions. So that just shows how aggressive they can be. In this particular case, what's interesting is obviously we're not dealing with identical marks. We're comparing the mark Bullard against Red Bull. Obviously, there are some similarities there because both of the marks incorporate the word bull. But often what I find is clients come to me and they think that there won't be an infringement or a risk of an opposition because the marks aren't identical. And that's a classic pitfall in IP matters, because the marks don't have to be identical. They can be similar, which is what we're facing here. And in essence, this opposition is all about looking at whether or not the marks themselves, so the names, are they similar? And then having a look to see whether or not there's some overlap in the products or the services offered under those marks. And obviously, we all know that Red Bull is famous for its energy drinks, so it's well known in the drinks market. And here we're dealing with gin. So Bullards wish to get their mark in respect of many goods and services, but in particular gin. And so that's really like the key parts of the infringement case. We also have to look at whether or not there is confusion. And because here we're dealing with a big brand, I can imagine that what Red Bull will be saying is that they have gained enhanced distinctiveness in their particular brand because it's so well known, which means that it's more likely that there will be confusion. So they're like the key elements of their case. And as you can see from what I've already said, it's more complex and not very cut and dry. So it is a tricky one. And that's obviously why I can imagine that upon receiving a letter of claim from Red Bull, Bullards would have picked up the phone to their lawyers and sought legal help.
And Lucy, you mentioned all these big numbers of more than 200 defences and how 800 worldwide trademarks. Yeah. Is all of this intellectual property valuable, Lucy? Is that the crux of it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, obviously, in this case, Bullards would have built up a lot of reputation and goodwill in their name. I mean, they've been trading since 1830s, and on top of, so for them to go away and rebrand, that would cost them a lot of money, and also it would mean that they'd be letting go of all the goodwill that they've created in their brand. So within the marketplace, if you mention gin and spirits, then Bullards will be what people think of.
And there must be a frightening moment for any business owner who gets a letter from a big organisation like that. What's your practical advice, Lucy, if that does happen?
First thing, don't panic. I mean, obviously, especially in this case where you're up against a huge company, it's quite intimidating. And, you know, legal wording is intimidating. But one thing that I would say is act quickly, but gain legal advice first. So send it over to your lawyer, gain legal advice, and your lawyer will quickly be able to tell you exactly what the merits are of the case and whether or not parts that the other side are asserting are as strong as they say, because it's not always the case. And they can advise you and build up a strategy so that you can get the best outcome and it can meet your commercial objectives.
Thank you very much for your time, Lucy. And I did see in one of the press reports, Bullards said that they would not be bullied, which also has bull in it as well. Lucy, thank you very much for your time. And if you would like some advice from Lucy with a similar intellectual property issue, you can contact her insideman@jmw.co.uk or call 0161 82 81 999. I'm Dominic Walker, JMW's Inside Man.